Den of thieves. Preach. Church.
And you dropped two projects literally back to back. How is Wisdom Wears the Crown different from the Guttersnipe LP?
But Wisdom Wears the Crown is kind of like I had done that in about a 2.5 week period where I was in a mood. I just caught like a wave, like a creative wave. You know, when you have a dry spell for a little while, and I was wrapped up in a lot of things, a lot of personal things, a lot of personal issues, family things, and trying to catch up with like everything that was going on with the lockdown and the pandemic, and just reprioritizing myself. And then all of a sudden, like I didn't have a wave of creativity for a long time, and then all of a sudden, boom! I just got. You know what? It was really driven by a lot of like anger. I was angry about something, and I and I'm trying to figure out what it is. So I just came in and I just like went in the studio, just started making the beats. I had stacked the samples. Like I was stacking samples for like a week, right? Just from horror, from the horror genre. Boom, 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 just chopping up little bits and pieces here and making a folder filled with them, like a couple hundred. Then I started making drums, and then I started to lay the samples and figure out what was like, just sort of like patch everything in. And then as I would do a song, I would start writing. You know what I'm saying? So as I'm making the beat, I start writing a little bit in my head. Then boom, I put it on paper or whatever on my phone. And even sometimes I just go on the mic and start doing it. So I would do a song. I would finish a song from beginning to end, and it became really cohesive because I did that really like. It was a mood. It was one vibe I was in. It wasn't like I did something one day, another day. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like a month from now, I wrote this then. It was one complete mood. That's why it's got that sort of very dark. It's got a dark vibe to it, like a little slower, a little moodier. It's different than Guttersnipe. Like Guttersnipe is a little more boom bap, a little soulful, a little more street, a little more wordplay. Bars are a little bit like more intense, but yeah, I feel like it was like a real piece of part of what I was going through for that. Where Guttersnipe was kind of more spread out. So if I had a mood here and I had a mood there, plus I was driven by the features, their vibe, what they were on. You know what I'm saying? So it was a different energy.
Okay. I was gonna say that, like listening to Wisdom Wears the Crown, it seemed like paranoid to me. You said you were angry.
Yeah.
Did you figure out what you were angry about?
Yeah, I would have to say I was probably angry. Like when I really think about it, I'm angry about being put in a position where I have to make choices. Like we're in like a real, like for me personally, I feel like we're in a make it or break it situation for us as a civilization, as a culture. We're gonna decide to go this way. That we might decide to go both ways, but can you have divergent competitive sort of existences? We're moving into a technological age where this is taking another step with Neuralink and all these other sort of like integration of human consciousness into technology. Or are we going to go the Luddite way and go like our ancestors went? Because for me, and it might sound crazy, but civilization is cyclical, and we've had these sort of like crescendos and collapses over and like we've gone through this. Like we've had huge civilizations that have been global, and then all of a sudden they collapse down to tribal civilizations again, where we're kind of starting over. And I think that's the pattern. I think that's the Earth's way of resetting us as humans. Like all animals and all creatures have a way of resetting. So I feel like, every generation's got their shit that they go through. Like every this is kind of we're at a crucible. You know what I'm saying? Like we're gonna have to choose what we want for ourselves. And me, the anger really stems from the fact that I got two young kids. It's not just me I have to think about, every decision I make from here on is a decision for them. And my survival is based on their survival. Like I'm the male lion and the pride. I have to make sure I have to be there to take care of them, make sure that they have clothes on their back, food in their belly, make sure they're safe from the outside world until they're old enough to take care of themselves. So I take that responsibility very seriously. And it makes me angry because I get fearful for them that the walls are closing in. You know what I'm saying? And I got to get, and I know I got that streak in me to get mean. You know what I'm saying? And I know it, and I don't like it, but when driven, when your back's against the wall, you do what you need to do. So that's pretty much where it stems from, if that answers the question.
Yeah, you did. You said a lot more stuff though. Um, you said a lot.
We usually go through this, right?
Yeah, what's this, the third time around?
Yeah.
I enjoy our conversations, man.
Yeah. Me too.
Okay. On the song Demagogue, you say these devils will always tell you what you want to hear. It sounded like you were talking about preachers and stuff to me. Who were you referring to in that song?
Anybody who pitches themselves as the authority, who sells themselves as being in a position to tell you what to do as if you don't know what to do. And as you know, in a way, the devils tell you what you want to hear is them telling basically exactly what it is. Like they tell you what they want, what you want to hear, and then they pull a bait and switch on you, you know, and then they always turn it into something else. You can't trust the devil with their words. You know what I'm saying? They'll tell you what you want to hear, but they'll never give you what you need. You know, there's always a caveat or a hidden agenda. There's always something like that going on. So that's basically that's what the demagogue is. You know, the demagogue is the used car salesman, the court appointed attorney. You know, going through even with like doctors. You know, that I kind of make a distinction between. I mean, it is a distinction between authoritative and authoritarian, like somebody who's an authority or a specialist in a subject that you're willing to listen to and glean whatever information you need to make a decision in your life, as opposed to an authoritarian or authority in the other sense of the word, somebody who's going to tell you what to do as if you're a child. I've never been one to be told what to do. Like I'll learn from your mistakes and I'll learn from my mistakes. You know what I'm saying? I'll learn from experience. I'll learn from watching and listening. And I always do that. I always let the people speak and I let them show their hand. Never say nothing. Let them keep talking till they reveal themselves. It's when they like a con artist will always come to you and say something to get a response. When they get a response from you, they feed off of the response. But if you never give them a response, they're kind of left flapping in the wind. They don't know how to react to you. So you always just sit there and listen to them, let them talk, and they always reveal their hand over time. And then they get frustrated with you and walk away. So that's how I deal with like demagogues and devils. I'm a listener. I don't talk to them, you know.
Okay. Persona non grata, that's my favorite song on Guttersnipe.
Oh wow. Yeah.
How did that song come together?
As far as I you know, production, you know, just hard drums. It needed that sort of the subject matter was about a situation that I found myself in with the actually, you know, the narcotics squad in Brooklyn who came after me because somebody said something that I didn't do. You know what I'm saying? So they came looking for me on some snitch shit, but I don't ride dirty, so there was nothing they could get. But they did fuck with me, and it turned into a thing where, fortunately, I grew up with a friend of mine who's a DT in Brooklyn. So I called him. I told the cop. It was a crazy story. I live on Columbia Street, and I'm going down into Red Hook, like the end, the market down there. But you know, so you got to go through the projects. Got to go down. I'm going down Columbia, going over the Battery Tunnel. I see this white van coming towards me again, you know, and then I'm driving, I see him turn around behind me. So now I'm driving. Now I don't know that it's a narcotics van. They got no lights, no symbols. The driver was Chinese. And And I don't know, I think the passenger was Latino. I think it was Puerto Rican. I'm not sure exactly. But so now I see them behind me and I'm like, and I don't really think anything of it at first. Like the U-turn kind of caught me because I caught me from the mirror and I'm like, that was kind of an aggressive turn. So now I'm going. Now I get over the tunnel and I'm driving down Richards Street. I get down by, and I see this van coming up on me. He must have got caught at like the stop sign with the traffic. So he was a little bit delayed. So all of a sudden he's coming up quick. So I don't know who he is. So I'm starting to move quick. So I get to the stop sign over there in the corner. And he gets like, as soon as boom, and there was a crossing guard and there was a school, there's a school over there. So, and there was a crossing guard there. His van pulls, boom, cuts right in front of me. I got my dog, who's a pit bull, in the back seat. Now, I don't know how he's gonna react. Now I got all these things I'm trying to figure out, like, all right, well, who the fuck are these guys? And my dog, you know what I'm saying? So the Chinese guy who was driving the van gets out and he's talking like me. He's like, hey, what's your fucking problem? Blah, 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 blah. He's like, and I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, I saw you yelling out the window, cursing and making a scene. I was like, you're bugging. I didn't have my window down. So this dude was just straight up lying and creating a justification for his bullshit action. So he's talking shit. I got the one cop. There's a black cop over here, and the Puerto Rican cop is behind. I can see him in the rear view, and they got their guns. Like the Chinese guy's got his hand on his gun. The black guy's got his gun out, but he don't have it pointed at me. He just has it out. So like, what the fuck is going on? You know? So I'm talking to the cop like I'm not being a dick, but I'm being assertive. You know? So I said, first of all, you're full of shit. And I said, my cousin, a kid I grew up with, I call him my cousin. I'm like, he's a DT. It was almost on some mob shit because I was like, he'll vouch for me, you know, that look, you and I both know that you're making this up. You know what I'm saying? So you take me in, it's going to be my word against yours. You're going to run me through the system. I got people that will vouch for me. So we're just, let's take care of this right now. I get him on the horn. Boom. I call him. I put him on speaker. He takes my phone. He goes, oh, your cousin here. He's driving crazy and he's screaming out the window. And my boy, he knows me. He's like, that don't sound like him. He's usually real calm. Like he's not that dude. So, you know, 15 minutes go by, they talk, they let me go, but it stems from that. Like, and I just come to figured out that somebody talked some shit, whether I had guns or drugs, I'm not sure what, but in order to get me bagged, just like setting me up somehow. For some reason, I don't know why, I don't know what it was, but that was basically the gist of this sort of bullshit snitch culture where people are like, it's not even based, they snitch on you for shit you don't even do. You know, it's like when somebody calls in shots fired or somebody calls in, somebody got a gun and they don't, and the cops show up and then they do the dirty work for them, you know? So they do the dirty work for cowards. So they get the cops to be their strongmen. So that's basically how that situation formed. And then I needed something that felt, you know, like I felt hard, like ready to fight, and you know, in sort of that fight mode. And then I needed like the sort of like the idea that I had to call somebody inside their mob, you know, to get myself, a civilian, out of the situation. So it felt mob-like. So I wanted the sort of the piano feel, that drama. So that was basically the gist of that. And then I just felt like Rusty would be a good fit for that. You know, he's got that. He's from Brooklyn. He's got that hard style. So I just felt like it was a good fit.
Where did the piano come from? What genre?
You know, I think it came from karaoke.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I think I was diving into like karaoke discs that I had gotten for like $1. Like I got a bunch of them, you know, like, and I just go into them, and it's like sort of a replayed something. I can't remember what it is, but karaoke, you know how they have like a, you know, a cover of a song. So it's a cover, so it's a really clean version, but I can't remember exactly what song it was.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'll dig into anything, man. I'll dig into anything. Wisdom with the Crown is all horror, and some of it is from the Octagon, the Chuck Norris movie. Some of it is from Phantasm. Some of it is from like, these sort of like very 70s retro. Um, yeah, that's why it's got that vibe.
Wow, that's crazy. Um, few of the songs on Guttersnipe have interludes at the end of the tracks that are real dope. Why did you choose not to rap over those beats?
Ah man, I'm telling you, like it's always a hard decision. Some things like I put it to this way. Before I actually produce, like make a full beat, I will sometimes make drum kits, just drums, and I'll just store them. Boom. So I'll have like 100 of what I call drum sets, right? Then I have like 200 what I call my chop loop sets. So I take loops, chop them into these components, flip them, tune them, make all these like weird things, like, you know what I'm saying? My own sort of loops out of all these different chops and pieces. And then I stack them and I have like 200, 250. I don't even know where I'm at with them right now. So I use some for the beats, and then I just have so many that I just want to fill them. Like I could put interludes for days and things, and they're all, and like they're dope. Like I get it. Like I could rap on them, but sometimes you got to leave space. You got to leave room for vibe. Like that's sort of like the Tribe Called Quest thing. Like Tribe Called Quest, they rap. They have that sort of. They give enough space for you to want to hear rap later. To hear somebody rap. So that's why, like, I created that effect on some of the joints. Like you'll hear, I don't have drums in the choruses. I don't have choruses on the Ace joint, Helicopter. There's no there's no chorus, and the drums drop out and it becomes sort of operatic. Like it's got that feel where it slowly builds back. Like it builds in the beginning, and then all of a sudden, boom, you hit the drums and the rhyme schemes, and then boom, lays back out and gives Ace that same sort of respect to come in. You know what I'm saying? Let it build up and make a grand entrance on it. So it gives like this, just like a musical waveform, goes up and down. Like you hit those highs, you hit the climax, then you drop down to the spaces in between. The breath in between is just as important as the highs. It makes that contrast. I learned that from like Illmatic. Like when you listen to songs, there's songs you don't like. I didn't like Represent when I first heard Illmatic, but you understand how important it is, like in the grand scheme of the project. Like,
Hold on.
yeah,
Why didn't you like it?
I don't know, man. When you compare it to like New York State of Mind and The World Is Yours, it don't have the same. It doesn't. But I understand why it doesn't. I understand why it doesn't have the same sort of like complexity and rhythm.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it's very simple, but you understand why it's there because it's creating space for everything else. Like you need that. That's why, like on my projects, I'll always do one joint without drums because it gives that space. It gives people, and usually I do it in the middle of the project to give it the turn. Like so the project will have a vibe to a certain point. You'll have a particular track that might have drums, and then that's where the project turns to something a little bit different.
Okay.
So I use them as like devices for the project.
Yeah, it makes sense. On the song Dream, you say I shift between be something and why bother. How are you able to get out of why bother mode when you're feeling that?
I think out of sheer impulse to create, the impulse to do, to produce, to be productive. Like, I think the why bother comes from the why bother is like we all get frustrated with our situation. Maybe we're not moving as quickly. Things are not going as quick like the way we want. They're not moving as quickly as we want. And then we get frustrated. And then sometimes we realize that, if you even think about it on a spiritual level, sometimes we're like, why am we bothering? Like, why am I, it's like I'm chasing my tail, right? Like you make a song is dope. you make another song is dope, and you just keep going and going and going. And like you work on music, sometimes you it can make you crazy. You just keep like, anytime that you do something very repetitively, it feels like you're going a little bit crazy. Like you're like, so you get frustrated because you're always competing with yourself. Like that last thing that you made, like this one's got to be better. This one's got to be better. And that's kind of where I learned, like with some projects, not mine, but some projects that I've heard before. Sometimes I feel like the artists, especially producers, are competing with themselves. So they make the first track, it's dope. Then they build and make a better track, and they always trying to outdo themselves. So it's like, it doesn't have like a sort of a flow to it. It's just like, okay, let me make this harder and harder and harder, Whereas opposed to just like, yo, man, sometimes that track that's not as dope belongs here, and so that it makes this track, it contrasts this track and makes this track seem even bigger, because now you have like a track that might not be as ill, or might be simple. Maybe it's just drums with a loop. Maybe, it doesn't have a bass line, or, you need that contrast, that juxtaposition of sound. So the why bother comes from my frustration, but the keep going is just like from that impulse to create, like that drive. We're humans. We need to do something. You know what I'm saying? Why not do what we want to do? If we're going to do anything.
I feel that, but at times that could be, you know, some people throw in the towel. Some people say, I'm not doing this anymore.
I've seen it.
Yeah, things change. Somebody was asking me about going to a Bulls game. I'm like a big Bulls fan, right? And I was a season ticket holder for 11 years. And then toward the end of that, I started covering the team. So I'm like in the locker room, interviewing players, all this stuff. And they're getting good again. So this girl's like, "Are you going to go to the Bulls game?" I'm like, "Hell no." The thought of going there it just freaks me out. Like, there's no way I would go back. 15 years ago, I couldn't miss it. Like, I couldn't miss a game, even when they sucked. These things happen in life, in business, in relationships, and you get to these places where sometimes you're just like, that shit ain't cool no more. I can't do that anymore.
Is it a maturity thing, you think? Like you just kind of mature out of certain things?
It depends on what it is. For basketball as a sport, like it's an entertainment. I don't think it's a maturity thing. For that is just being burnt out, man. Like I was, it's hard. It's a winter sport. So you drive in there in blizzards and shit. It's like, it's cold and I just got tired of it. Like, nah, I don't, being around drunk people.
Yeah.
Like, like it just lost its thing for me. Like, I can't do this anymore. While I was doing it, it's like, nah, I can't do that anymore. And, I find like every 10 years, there's something else like that. Like, I don't know. I think that's just life, but um, why bother? That, that hit me when you said that, like, why bother? Because we've all been there on some level, and there's an answer to it. Either way, there's an answer to it. If I could go really personal, but that stuck out to me in that song, man. It really did, because I feel that way about a lot of things.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I said it, like, if I had to think about it, like the position that I was in, like the position I'm in, with having 2 kids. My one son is 4, and my other son is 1. And he turned 1 in November, so they're young, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why bother with certain things like when I have priorities that are other things that need this attention? You know, it's like, not why bother and fold in the whole game. You know what I'm saying? It's just change the perspective, change the direction. Change, you know what I'm saying? Like there's other things I want to do. Like there's like I'll tell you one thing. Like the pandemic taught me that like I never grew a thing in my life. Like I never grew anything. So I started to grow. Like I have a little plot of land behind my crib. So I put 6 raised beds in, and wasn't big, you know, but I grew all kinds of shit that summer. Like I started planting in the spring. I planted everything. I got fig trees going, grapes. I got cucumbers, tomatoes, the usual. I got watermelon. I got okra. I got string beans. I put in raspberries. I put in blackberries. Man, I put in all kinds of shit, and that shit just started growing. And then me and my son would go out, and he picked the raspberries, and you know what I'm saying? Like to me, that process like is so grounding. You know, it's like I find that just as stimulating as creative as working on music. I find it like it for me. So it's almost like, why bother with this when this is giving me this? You know what I'm saying? Like it's like
Yeah, that's
I
a
mean,
different kind of why bother. Yeah.
yeah, it's a different, yeah. It's not like I mean, we lament, right? We're nostalgic for things that we don't want to do anymore either. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I make music because, you know, it's such a part of it's so integrated into my DNA that it's like a relationship I can't let go of, you know. You know, maybe I'll have to let go of it at some point. Maybe I'll teach my son to do it a little bit more. But I bought land in Florida a couple of months ago. I had a house in Costa Rica that I built from scratch, off grid. Took me years to build. Took me like 10 years to build it. Solar power, have my own well, planted a bunch of trees. Try to get wifey, and when the pandemic kicked off, before they closed the borders and she got real hot, I was like, let's go. Let's jump. You know, she was pregnant 3 months with my second son, and my first son we had just come back from Costa Rica. We were there for that January prior to, you know, in 2019. Was it 2020 when she kicked off, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was it 2019? I can't even remember that.
Hold on.
It wasn't last January, it was January before.
Yeah, so that's 2020.
2020. So I was there with, so we were there, we were there for the month. We had just come back. This shit started jumping off like in March. I'm like, let's go. And you know, if we gotta like hang out down there and have our second son down there, I'll find a birthing center. You know what I'm saying? We'll have the kid down there. He'll get his citizenship just from being born there. And she was like, no. She didn't want to do it. You know, she was scared for whatever reason. And so we kind of hung out here, did our thing. And then I was like, but my mind goes into like exactly what you said, like a little bit of paranoia, but contingencies. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking it's up to me to take care of you. You know what I'm saying? Like I got to take care of these kids. Like I said, we don't know where this is going. Like this shit is unprecedented. We don't know. Nobody knows. We're in uncharted territory, you know?
Really? I mean, I've never seen anything like this in my lifetime.
No. And I'll tell you what, man, we're fortunate in the States. If you look at some other countries, you look at Australia, New Zealand, you look at Austria now with Germany and even Italy. And man, they got to fight. And I'll tell you the thing that I think makes the difference here, and people don't give it enough credibility. And I honestly, my political leanings, I'm liberal, but I'm liberal to the degree of being closer to libertarian. But if I had my way, I would be a minarchist or an anarchist in the sense of I don't want, well, I mean, the etymology of anarchy is without rulers. So when one governs themselves when one has knowledge of self and it has self-developed into a full mature human being, they don't need governance. You know what I'm saying? It's unfortunate that our society is structured in a way where we've stunted people's growth. Like it's like an arrested development. Like people have not really met their potential or their own power. They don't understand who they are and what they really can do. Like they're real. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like we love to cater to underdeveloping our people. We should be able to do everything, right? It's a rite of passage to be able to grow food. It's like certain things we should be able to take care of ourselves, you know? We've become soft as time's gone on. And I always thought this as a kid when I didn't have air conditioning and I didn't have heat. I said, people lived like this like 100 years ago, 200 years ago. There was no heat. There was no heat, like internal heat, like air conditioning. And, you know what I'm saying? Like people lived with the elements, you know? That's that whole Wim Hof philosophy, right? Wim Hof believes in breathing techniques and certain things regulate the body's temperature. Like we've lost that ability to fit in nature. We've lost our position, like everything can do it. We did it. We're here for thousands and thousands of years. So it's not like we can't do it. It's just we've become so accustomed to being catered to by our civilization, you know, running water in the house. And, you know, we're no longer wolves, we're golden retrievers. You know what I'm saying? And some of us are pit bulls, and that's cool, but you're still not a wolf. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're still not a lion. We're not a lion pride. We're not what our ancestors were, you know? And I'm acutely aware of that. And I'm trying to put my feet in both worlds, you know? I'm trying to dab in this side and that side. And for me, like I'm anti-authoritarian by nature. I've always been. I remember my pops teaching me about taxes for the first time. Like I remember he had to pay taxes on, he had to pay some taxes that he owed for his business. And he was like, oh, like he was like, I remember the story. It was something like he owed like 10,000. This was like in the 80s or something, you know? He owed 10,000. And they broke it to him like the week before Christmas. Like, oh, you got to pay this 10,000 if you don't pay it. My father's like, you have to fucking do what you got to do, you know? He was like, I don't have it. But then he went and he kept pressuring them like this ain't right. I don't owe this money, you know? I don't know. So, they found out it was 2. It wasn't 10, you know? So they make you crazy. And I'm like, first of all, you work, right? You work for a living. And I forgot who said it recently. It might have been Alan Watt. It might have been Alan Watt. It might have even been Jordan Peterson who said, if you allow, like, say you make a dollar, if somebody lays claim to 1 or 2 cents, might not seem like a lot, right? You let it go. It's as bad as them taking 50%, 60%, 70%, because in their minds, they think they're entitled to it. You know, it's not the act of taking, it's the act of being entitled to take, you know, and that entitlement mentality is never enough for people in power. They always feel entitled to more, a bigger piece of you. That's how we become slaves, because they slowly chip away. If you earn, for every dollar you earn, if they take 90 cents and you only keep 10, are you 90% slave, 10% free? No, you're all slave.
Yeah, I hear you, but what's the alternative to pay for infrastructure, military, all this stuff that we pay for? Like what nobody likes paying taxes, man. But I'm like, if yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
But my problem isn't with paying the taxes. My problem is with the powers that be thinking they have a right to it. You understand? I'll put it this way. What if they came to you and they said, you know what? We have a project. We want to build it. We need a bridge. We need a road. This is what we need for it. Anybody want to fund it? You know what I'm saying? Like right now we have hospitals with people's names on it. Like, because those people fund it, they donate the money, Like I believe in voluntarism. I'm not anti-social or socialism. I don't believe in government socialism. I believe in individual socialism. I believe in voluntary socialism. I believe that we do have an obligation to chip in, but not at the end of a gun. You know what I'm saying? Not at the end, the barrel of the gun, There should be no force of coercion. It should be, I should come to you and say, brother, we can make life easier if we put a bridge. Well, anyway, roads, and I don't have a problem with tolls. Like New York is the most tolled fucking city in the country, right?
That's different. Yeah, it's a different ball game up there.
But tolls are a usage tax. I don't have a problem with it. I'm using it, so I'll pay for it. That's fine. Like anything that's a usage tax is cool because you're using it. I even believe like like certain sales tax on luxury goods. That's fair. That's just. I don't believe in real estate tax because I believe in real estate tax, you're losing your sovereignty. Your land is your little kingdom. That's where you're defensive, and like your land should be able to sustain you, right? You can live on it. And then it sustains you for whatever, whether you have water or you grow food or anything. You know what I'm saying? Like anything that comes through that perimeter, that's the rule. You come in here to violate, you've now entered my kingdom, and I have a right to defend my kingdom. And that's from anybody. That's from civilian, that's from government, that's from anybody. So the minute that they tax it is the minute that it's a feudalist system. They own it. Like the minute you don't pay them, they come in.
Yeah, it's not yours.
It's not yours. You're leasing it. So we've been, and this is all relatively kind of new, right? Like certain taxes, income tax was to fund the world. I think World War II or World War I, one of them. I can't remember, but income tax only came in the last century, in the early last century. I think real estate came in. There was no real estate tax prior to like. At least then, like, that's why, like, I bought this land in Florida. If I have chickens and a goat on that land, they have a Homestead Act. If it's agrarian and you're doing something with it, you don't pay real estate taxes. So it's your little kingdom now, and that's why, that's why they have laws like the Castle Doctrine, like your Castle Doctrine is your home, like places in Canada, somebody comes in to steal all your shit. The minute that if you clap them, or you know what I'm saying, do whatever you need to do, it's your fault. It's your problem. You know what I'm saying? Like where do we draw the line? Where do we draw the line at our own personal, well-being? I mean, I put it to you this way: if people want to take what I need to survive, you know what I'm saying? Like if you want to take my house, you're taking the roof from over my head and my family's head. If you want to take my food, or you want to take me, I'm the provider for my family, so we have to know where the line is. Where, I don't think a lot of people know where the line is. Like they don't know where to say no. No is a powerful thing. People don't flex that muscle enough. The ability to say, no, that's it. I almost feel like, I don't know how you feel about it, but the whole vaccination thing, if people want to get it, they get it. People don't want to get it, don't get it. But the minute you start telling people you can't work, what you're telling them is you either get this or you starve. That's a subtext. That's what they're saying. Like, because like in New York, they just made it like, the federal mandate was for bigger companies over 100 employees. New York just made it for companies under 100 employees as well. So what are you telling me? You're telling me that I can't feed my employees? You know what I'm saying? If they're not vaccinated? Or you're telling me that if I'm not vaccinated, I can't eat? It's like, nah, man. Either way, people are going to eat. I've had conversations with my people in the city, and they're like, look, if they don't let you do X, Y, and Z, and X, Y, and Z is what you require to survive, you're going to do X, Y, and Z anyway. despite what they do or what they say, and we're just going to come to blows over it because you're not. Again, you're backing a man against the wall. You know, you're putting, you know, you back a man, you back any animal against the wall, they're gonna fight. You know, so that's where I see they're missing the plot. You know, they're missing the big picture. And
I don't really want to get into that because we could go on forever about it. I'm one of those people who I don't really feel strongly either way about the vaccine. I'm vaccinated, but if people don't want to get it, I understand. But what you're talking about is like businesses saying, "Hey, you know, you have to do this." On one hand, I'm in the middle on that too. On one hand, I'm like, yeah, they're trying to protect people. But on the other hand, I'm like, damn, that's like gangster. Like, how are you telling somebody, you know, get the fuck out if you know, I see both ways. So
yeah, no, I mean, there's fair arguments on both sides.
yeah.
The problem is we all have to be responsible for our action at the end of the day, right? So if you work for, like, I know I know a bunch of people who've been in this situation. If you want to get the vaccine, you get it. But if the company forces them, if you were to come to them with a waiver of liability, if you came to your boss and said, okay, I'm going to take this to keep my job, but I need you to sign this liability form that if something should happen and I can't work or I get sick, or, you know, because people do get, you know, Guillain-Barré or blood clots or whatever, and it interferes with my ability to make money, this company will be accountable. You'll be accountable and you'll pay for that. They won't do it.
That's not going to happen.
Nobody wants to be responsible. You know, nobody wants to be accountable to, like, for their actions. So, I mean, I didn't get it because I had COVID.
Mhm.
So I have, like, it's like being vaccinated at that point. And I don't know if the being vaccinated interferes with my natural immunity, you know, because you get immunity from having COVID. My brother had it too.
Yeah,
Most
I
of
don't
my
think
employees,
I don't think it's immunity. You're not immune to it. You can get it again. It's not going to kill you.
exactly.
Yeah.
You have the ability to fight it off. That's the thing. Right?
Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
but that's generally what immunity is. You're still going to contract things. Your body has the ability to get rid of it, you know, early.
Right. Let's wrap it up, man. The last time we spoke, you said the follow-up to Guttersnipe was a lighter project. Where are you at with that project right now?
Yeah, that project. Yeah, I have this project called Pentagram Palaces, which is being mixed. That one isn't particularly lighter. That one is like soulful. It's with this
Mhm.
producer called Retrospect. He's from Brooklyn. I would say it's kind of like, you know what, man, I don't even know what to categorize it. It's soulful, but it's dark, and at the same time, it's got these like weird, like I did these weird, like I flow a little bit like man, I wish I could really describe it. It's really a fucking strange. It's different. I do weird choruses, so I rhyme for like 8 bars, and then I drop out and I repeat myself. I repeat these lines over and over like I'm having a conversation with myself. So I end my 8 bars, and the last line is the line I repeat over and over, and then I answer myself before I start my next 8 bars. So
Okay.
I
At the
repeat.
end. Okay.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember the lines because it's been a long time since I actually listened to that. I have to mix that. I did that a while ago. And then I have another project with Trox, the producer from Portland. So I have 8 tracks with him that I sort of just started laying out. And then I got another project I'm working on with multiple producers: Quincy Tones, Duke Westlake, I'm trying to get this other kid, Kuth, on it. Again, I'll do some of the production. Try to get Skiz and Marco to maybe do a beat or two. But that all is like predicated on whether they fit. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me,
Yeah.
it's important that everything jives. I don't put things on just to put them on. You know, everything got to sort of like link up the right way. Or that's why I have so many, like, I probably have like 50 joints just of mine, just laying around loose. Like what am I going to do with this? Or what do I do with that? You know? And then eventually, like, so next year's going to be busy, man. I'm dumping singles. I'm dumping 4-song EPs, maybe 6-song EPs, LPs. But I don't know. What do you think of, like, I almost feel like LPs at this point is just kind of like a little bit of a waste of energy, you know? I feel like things are so quick, they move so quickly that nothing really is saturating anymore. Like sounds don't saturate. People don't listen to them. It's like so much music comes out, you know?
I'm the wrong person to ask. Dinosaur, man. I like albums. Not really a fan of EPs. I mean, you really have to go back, and it's ridiculous because music is music, right? But in my mind, I feel like an EP is cheating people. Like it's not enough.
Yeah.
But I'm not the norm. I think what you're saying is correct for today, the way people consume today. So that's why I said I'm the wrong person to ask. I like albums. People bitch about 16 songs, not me. That's what I was raised on. So give me that. Don't give me 6 songs. give me a full album. So that's what I love. And it might not be, that might be a thing of the past. You know, people want, in and out, 30 minutes,
Yeah.
or less. So,
Yeah.
you know,
I feel like just from a pragmatic standpoint and in marketing and keeping yourself out there and busy, like this year, like I mean, I came out with 6 Demon Bag. Now I came out with Wisdom Wears a Crown, and then the LP. And a lot of it I got hung up on a lot of things because of pandemic and other hustles I got going on and stuff like that, you know, sort of like slowing things down. But
yeah.
other than that, like, I just want to I got to stay busy, man, because I feel like I leave too much gap between music, you know, I should have, like, when you and I talked, we talked for 16 and Bag,
Right.
and I was trying to come out with Guttersnipe last March, but, you know, a project like Guttersnipe is in the works for me for a while. So when you listen to it and then you go to mix, I'm trying to make sure everything is like, you decide. Guttersnipe is a little more polished than Wisdom Wears the Crown. Wisdom Wears the Crown is intended to be just a mood, a grimy mood that I was in, where Guttersnipe is meant to be a whole project. It's meant to feel like a complete package. So I know what you mean. Like, I come from the same school as you, where I like albums. I was never really into 17, 18, 19, 20 tracks. I feel like it gets a little redundant. I like the sort of the Illmatic, like, like the 10, 11, maybe, 12. That's why I usually do it that way, because I can keep a nice balance in my own projects, where I'm not like, I don't feel like I'm being redundant on either subject or sound. So I'll keep my LPs will usually be anywhere from 11, 12 tracks, something like that, but yeah, I mean, just for the sake of being like efficient and proficient, I just want to like just keep dropping things. Makes I got all these joints in the chamber, man. I have like a dry erase board where I write my songs out, and then I try to construct them, right? Like, okay, would this go with that go with that, and it's crazy. And I don't know if you've noticed, like, I feel like when they did, when a couple of months, was it maybe 2 months ago, where Facebook and Instagram had the blackout, right?
Yeah.
They were frozen, right? You couldn't access it. I feel like from that point on, they definitely stopped the reach of your music, your posts. Facebook is like I feel like it's a dead platform. Like it's very minimal, you know, like the access that you could get, even if you boost your posts, it's very minimal. Not like it was. Same thing with
Okay.
Instagram. Instagram, my reach is half of what it was prior to the blackout. Like I would make a beat and post it and get like 600-700 views and a bunch of comments, you know. Now it's like now everything is about half, but I'm hearing the same thing. A couple of people were posting that shit on Twitter too. They're like, they're like, even their followers have been frozen. Like they're not getting any new followers, you know. So it's kind of strange, and I wonder what it is. Because I thought it was crazy, but I'm not the only one noticing it. I don't know if you noticed anything.
No, I did not. I did not, but I'm not putting music and stuff up there, so I don't really keep track of that stuff. But it
It's
sounds
frustrating.
like what you were saying earlier. Um, it's like oh my God, man, I'm lost already. What were we talking about? It's like a shakeup. You know what I mean? Like it's like rejuvenating or returning. I don't know. I have no idea about social media, bro. I'm the wrong one to ask.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it, but it's just something that we need to do to like.
Right. It's
It's
like, yeah. Twitter I like because it's just funny to me. Like people say funny stuff and it's like one sentence, but
yeah.
like the Instagram, the pictures and these sob stories, and I can't rock with it, man. I use it, but I have to for this stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not my thing, man. All right,
I
bro.
see. I'm the opposite. I prefer Instagram
Yeah,
over Twitter because I feel like when Instagram depends on who you follow. Like
yeah,
you know, you follow certain things and they could be it could be inspirational to see like somebody go from like 250, 300 pounds to like
yeah.
to 150 pounds of
Well,
like like fitness stuff, health stuff, like people who grow things, do
yeah. I
inspirational.
don't. I don't think I follow any of those people.
Yeah, man. I follow some stuff like it catches my eye, like, and I'm like, you see some girl, she goes to the gym and she's like, I follow this girl, she's from Panama.
Hmm.
I forget her name, but she shows before and after pictures, and she was like, she was a little bit thick and out of shape, and then she shows her transformation, and I'm like, that's fucking like that
Yeah,
shit is dope, man. When people can go like when they got the discipline and the will to make that much of a change in their life, man. I love that kind of shit, man. To me, that's like, and then, I saw somebody posted their 5-year-old. So it was a 4-year-old kid. He was like he was on the Pro Tools, played some keys, played some drums, played the guitar. I was like, damn, like he's 4 years old and he's doing all that, Like my son like kicks a soccer ball around, what I'm saying? Like
yeah, yeah.
barely. Like it's like these you see such like incredibly talented people and inspirational people, you know. Um,
Yeah, I don't, I'm following all the wrong people. I don't see any of that.
yeah. When you see that toxic stuff, like if I see too much toxic stuff, I unfollow. I'm
Yeah,
like, nah, man, I can't fill my psyche with that.
yeah. That's what Facebook is to me. Like it's like bullshit, all bullshit. But it's like, you know, whatever.
Yeah,
People, I think people are a reflection of what they post is a reflection of their lives. And people are in a bad way, Some people aren't positive. You know? That's just life. All right, man. Let's wrap it up.
man,
It's another long conversation, another good conversation, man. It's like we do one every year.
yeah, man. No, man, I like it, man. I'm always comfortable. I feel like I know you. You know what I'm saying? Like I spoke even from the first time I
Yeah,
talked to you, it felt like a very like natural conversation. So it's always good, man. It's always like you gotta listen to your instincts and your intuition, and that's what it does. So if you're
definitely.
ever around New York, man, you make sure that you pull up. We'll break bread
No
for sure.
doubt. No doubt. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. Keep in touch, bro.
I will.
All right,
Peace.
peace.
Yeah, Chivato. Yo, I'm Saga and I'm trying to prosper. They trying to cock block my dollar. These fucking devils have no honor. I'm persona non grata. I'm a Brooklyn Dodger. I'm like Sose tossing Omar out the helicopter. They betray you, they beef now, but sleep later. The beam laser cut to deep layers. Haters, the cheap labor that could be fatal.